please support the channel with the link directly below. That allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, please consider supporting the channel. I just ask that you do that rather than getting sponsors. They contact me all the time. I turn those offers down. I don't want to send you to some exchange that is going to go belly up or wants to get you leveraged up to wipe you out. Just have such a partner with me. Again, the signals have been making absolutely incredible calls. That sure helps me if it helps you support the channel. I thank you for your consideration for that. If you follow the link below, it'll take you to a secured site and you can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. If you do that, I thank you. Watch the video all the way through. You'll see my amazing signals, and I'll explain to you the different options for the Elliot wave count. Nothing has changed. Bitcoin is still going lower. Still in a bear market, and Bitcoin is topped and it's not going to make new highs. Contrary to popular moon boy belief. But if you have perma-bull, moon boy syndrome, you are blind to what is going on. Watch the video all the way through, you'll understand what is going on. Okay, it is the Tuesday session for Bitcoin, and first of all, I just want to apologize for not being able to post on Monday. I am recovering from surgery, and I just did not feel good yesterday. I did post some stuff on X, formerly Twitter, a couple of Bitcoin things, but it took everything in me just to make my stock video. I was going to try to do a Bitcoin video just before I made that, and just felt lethargic and just couldn't do it. So I apologize. Still don't feel very good today. They warned me that I would start feeling much better and that I could have little relapses where I don't feel as good, and that's what's happening. So I do apologize for not being able to post yesterday. I just needed to rest. I did try to post a couple of things on, and again this morning I tried to post some things on X showing what was going on with Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin had that rally back up to the 20-period moving average. Let me just bring it up here. That's a blue line you see right here. I told you going into Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving, we were going to get a Thanksgiving rally. I was looking for a bottom. That was correct. Why was I looking for a bottom? Wyckoff model that we've been following suggested that, and other indicators suggested we were going to get a bounce going into the Thanksgiving Day week. And I'm either looking for another leg down, or again, this is possibly still, this counter trend is possibly still under construction. We sold off 7% yesterday. Right now, we're up about just under 6.5%. We recovered the majority, or I should say all of that drop, and then the majority of the sell-off from our peak a couple of days ago. Show you the different possibilities of what could be going on here. Again, it's nothing more than a counter trend. So I'll be watching to see, do we get a bigger counter trend rally that goes towards the 98,000? Do we get above this level? If that is the case, we get a bigger counter trend, or do we get the lower high, which I think is more likely, and you come back and you start taking out 80,000. This is nothing more than a counter trend in the new intermediate wave 5. The other possibility, and I'll show you this all on the counts on the 4-hour chart and the daily chart real fast. If we were to get a bigger rally above 98,000, this proves this, that proves it. That proves that Bitcoin's going to make new highs. No, that just would mean my alternative Elliot wave count then comes into play if we move above 98,900, which it would mean that we have a 1, a 2, and that 3 is done. That would mean we have primary wave 3 done, and we're getting the larger counter trend, likely towards the 50-period moving average, but below this low right here at the 103,600 area. So if this is wave 1, wave 2, which I believe it is, and we're done with primary wave 3, and that's my alternative count, that we're done with it, then you could move above 98,000 and move to the 50 period just under 103,600. So those are the scenarios. Personally, again, I think that we've completed intermediate wave 4 and we're likely in intermediate wave 5. But if we did go higher, that would invalidate that. I think you're likely going to set up a lower high here. But if not, you get a bigger counter trend, either the intermediate wave 4 or If we move above 98,000, that means primary wave 3 done, and we're getting the primary wave 4 right here, right now. I think that's less likely, but still possible. Elliott wave is speculation. I always tell you exactly what I think. I think we're going to set up a lower high here and end up seeing this rally fizzle out. The second choice would be we get a larger counter trend for intermediate wave 2. The last choice would be that we go up and get a push above 98,000 and get the larger primary wave 4, which I think is less likely, but still possible. On the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, here's what I think is likely the case. I think you've got primary wave 1, primary wave 2. I think you've got the intermediate wave 1 and 2 done. I think this was intermediate wave 3. I think you got intermediate wave 4 now done. I think you've now started intermediate wave 5, which again should take us down towards the 74,000 area. If that is invalidated by pushing to levels above 93,000, above that high right there, then this counter trend is not yet done, and it's either a larger intermediate wave 4 or you have a primary wave 4 under construction that would be somewhere again under 103,600 here, but rather than intermediate wave 3 being done here, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for primary wave 3, and this would be the primary wave 4. So personally, my personal belief is we've likely not yet completed primary wave 3 yet. If this rally fails with a lower high, then we can resume that decline. But those are the possibilities, in my opinion. Bitcoin has already confirmed a bear market. If you've watched my last 2 videos, it's confirmed it in the weekly time frame. It's confirmed it in the monthly time frame, telling us that we're going to go make new highs now. Oh, I've been warned. I've been warned. Better watch out. Bitcoin's about to explode and go parabolic. And again, all of nonsense. This is what they said at the top. This is coming from the same people that never saw the top and never saw the sell-off coming. Absolutely incredible. Hello, Bitcoin is in a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. Do we get another one right here and now, or is this counter trend not yet done and we still go higher towards the 200 here, towards the 50-period moving average, towards 98,000, or even try to get above it to this high if the alternative count ends up playing out? And again, you should know, I do not trade Elliott Wave. I trade mathematically based indicators. Elliott Wave is speculation to try to determine price direction based on impulsive and corrective moves. Counts, I have more than one count. Counts will be invalidated or validated. I tell you what I think is going on, but I've just told you if I'm wrong and you move above this high right here, then you're either not done with intermediate wave 4 or this is a larger primary wave 4, which I've talked about over and over again. Personally, I believe we're still in intermediate wave. We're still carving out primary wave 3. But it is possible that it's done here. And that is going to be determined. It's going to be determined by the process of elimination. So if we do go higher, we do go back up to the 200, we go back to the trend line, you go back towards 98,000, then either intermediate wave 1, 2, 4 is not done yet, or if you move above 98,000, then again, it's likely primary wave 4, which I have marked over here. So, but you should know the future. I mean, that's how far gone some people are. I don't know the future. I'm a trader. I look at support and resistance, and I'm trying to determine impulsive and corrective moves based on the price fluctuations. Some people just have totally unrealistic expectations. Let me show you this up close. Again, I told you I thought we had an ABC done here, my last video. And personally, I still think, and I'll bring it up close, some things move when I bring it up close, but here we had this peak at 93,000. I think you've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. I think that's the first wave down. I think you're getting this counter trend back up here for a lower high for wave 2. So I think it's wave 1 and wave 2. That's what I personally think it is. But again, if we go above this level, then you're going to invalidate that, and you either have a larger intermediate wave 4 or again, if we move above 98,000, a primary wave 4, one or the other. We sold off. That was the crash wave 3 yesterday, and we ended up dropping 3, 4, and 5 there, and that gave you think is our first wave down. And now you're getting this rally back up. And again, boom boys are convinced. Here it comes. They've been convinced all the way down. On everything at bottom. Keep going to new lows. Absolutely incredible. I told you, now that I've been proven correct with this drop, they're even angrier at me down here at the bottom. These recent lows were back up at the top. They were mocking and laughing at me. But now they're doing it and they're super angry because coin has had such a dramatic drop as I correctly predicted. So again, guesses you're probably going to see a lower high here. That's what I think. I have the guts to tell you what I think. If we go above the 93,000 peak over here, then alternatives are that intermediate wave 4 did not complete over here. And again, things moved because I brought it up close. Did not complete over here, but completes higher above 98,000. Remember I told you back down at the bottom that we were going to, before we even rallied, we're going to bottom and rally up towards the low to mid 90,000 range. And we could go as high as a high 90,000 range. And said if we end up going above that, then you likely are in primary wave 4, and you probably have already completed primary wave 3. My guess is that's not going to happen, but again, I'd be derelict in my duty if I did not explain that to you and have you fully understand my train of thought. One of the reasons why I predicted that we'd have a rally is because Bitcoin continues to follow this Wyckoff distribution model, not perfectly, but very, very closely. And again, if we see 93,000 hold or rally up bigger and still hold below 98,000, if intermediate wave 4 is not yet done and we rally back up a little higher towards the 50 period in the daily, towards the 200 in the 4-hour time frame, regardless, we could still continue to follow this Wyckoff distribution. My personal belief is we're probably going to set up a lower high here and end up seeing it play out. And again, that means that we could be down at 74,000 or just under it or just above it here this week or next week. Next week is the Fed meeting. Let me say this, if we get the bigger rally ahead of the Fed, we'll likely sell off with the Fed, which is what we've been doing. We sold off with the Fed in September when they began their rate cutting campaign right here. We sold off with the Fed in October. That gave us the right shoulder. The left shoulder sell off was the Fed beginning their rate cutting campaign. Oh, here we go. Over here, Powell at Jackson Hole. Here we go. Said they're going to cut, so bullish. And we moved lower. And here, the Fed cut and we moved lower. And here the Fed cut again. Oh, we moved dramatically lower. Completed the head and shoulders pattern and saw it play out. So again, December 10th, next week, just over a week from now, we're going to get the Fed announcement. And again, speculation is the Fed, Powell trying to cancel the rate cuts at the last FOMC meeting, cancel the cuts for the cut for December, and we've done enough. And is he a big talking blowhard going to end up caving and giving a quarter point cut again, which I think is probably likely, or do they disappoint and end up not cutting, which Fed fund futures are still expecting a cut? Do we see another sell-off with the Fed? If we get a bigger rally, we could. If we sell off now ahead of the Fed, then you might try to bottom around December 10th or shortly thereafter and hit the 74,000 area. So we'll be watching to see how it unfolds. It can unfold in either way, depending on if we can clear the previous minor high here at 93,000. My guess is you're probably going to set up a lower high, but I'm telling you what will happen if I'm wrong about that, if we try to go higher. Watch 93,000, watch 103,600. Those are the two levels you want to be watching. We should not move above 103,000, but if we do move above 98,000, it would really tell us that this is primary wave 3 rather than intermediate wave 3. I've talked about the intermediate waves and the primary waves. Let's just look at it labeled here on Bitcoin. This is what I think is going on. Again, I posted this chart right after the top. Again, it's played out beautifully. And again, I told you I thought we were going to drop 40 to 50%. Why? Because that's what Bitcoin's done in the past to kick off a bear market. This was a big joke. Moon boys and the herd. Now, again, played out, they're getting angrier and angrier. But I think you're dropping down to 74,000 or down 50% to 63. Maybe as we did the last bear market, 52%, which was down, that would be down to 60,000. But this is what I think is going on. And I was verbally abused, called every single name in the book for posting this chart, but yet, again, it's been right. Basing things on my mathematically based indicators. If we see that play out, it should look something like this, where, again, we're coming down to 74,000 for a test. I think we'll finish primary wave 3, and you'll get primary wave 4. As I've said, if we move above 98,000, then it would invalidate that, and then we would have primary wave 4 here, moving back to the 50, moving back to 200 in the 4-hour time frame. I think this count is more likely to play out, that we have the intermediate wave 4 going on right now, or maybe at a little bit higher levels, and it's going to be followed by the intermediate wave 5 to complete the primary wave 3. I have this chart marked. I'm showing you here the left shoulder, the head formations under construction, then we'll get the right shoulder here where I think it will get a bottom in January. I think that's when the Fed will panic and do emergency rate cuts. The stock market has to play catch up first, and we need to see a sell-off in December and on into January. Now, it could take a little bit longer into the first quarter. I have the guts to tell you what I think. I think it's going to be by January, the first 3 weeks of January. Just my opinion, but I'm at a disadvantage because I predict things before they happen. Most people predict things after they already happen, like this drop. You got a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys saying how obvious it was. My signal's called the day of the top at resistance. Talking about a 40 or 50% crash now throughout this decline. What is this now? Starting week number 9. We'll see how we close. This is a daily chart. Let me just bring this up close. Again, if I am correct about this being primary wave 1, primary wave 2, we have intermediate wave 1, intermediate wave 2, this is intermediate wave 3, this is intermediate wave 4 or higher, below 98,000, and I'm right about intermediate wave 4. Then we get intermediate wave 5, or maybe we've already started it, which I think is more likely. You come down to 74,000. You get a divergence on indicators like the Awesome Oscillator, the RSI, and then you get a primary wave 4. Taking that back up to the channel line here from these previous highs. And that could, again, be surrounding the Fed meeting. If we sell off now, you could sell off into the Fed meeting and get a rally if the Fed cuts. If you get the rally now, we could sell off with the Fed, whether they cut or not, which is what we've been doing. The right shoulder, the left shoulder, those were sell-offs with the Fed cutting. So if we get the sell-off, you might try to rally with the Fed for once here for a difference. What we've been doing, we'll see, do we get that final drop? And if we do, again, I'm thinking that we drop somewhere between 40 and 50%. So I think the drop now will be the primary wave 3, we get primary wave 4, and then I think we get one more drop into January. And then I think you get this massive relief rally. And I think it's going to be about 45% to 60%. And I'm basing that on some of the rallies that I've seen in the past, market rallies for Bitcoin. And if we rally up here, and again, this is speculation that we drop to 63,000, that we drop 50%, which is historically what has happened. It's an average, that you get this big rally back up. And again, the moon boys will say an inverse head and shoulders, and we'll, sell off. And then we'll rally back up either to the 50% retracement or the 61.8 Fibonacci, wherever the 200 period is, that's where we're likely going to go. That's what we've done in the past. It's not rocket science. It's not that hard to figure out. Start a bear market, you drop below the 200 and the 50, then you get the death cross, you move down by 40 or 50% or so, and you rally back up towards the 200 period. And I think that will be somewhere in March or April. Here, again, the 50% retracement, I've marked it in April. Maybe it's a little bit sooner into March, but I think you'll see something like this. It could be shorter than April. It could just be to March, but I think January, February, March, maybe into April, you get a rally. So I think it's going to look something like this. Maybe it happens a little faster, maybe a little slower into April. We'll see how it plays out, but I think you're going to drop into January. We'll see if we get a lower high. Do we close strong or do we close weak? And again, if we do go higher, it's going to absolutely convince the moon boys, so-called experts, that the bottom is in with Bitcoin. And as I've said, We've confirmed a bear market closing below the 50-week moving average and then getting an open and close. You've had 2 consecutive closes below the 50-week moving average. Every time you've done that, you've never moved to new highs. Like over here, you've never moved to new highs when we confirmed it over here. Before moving down to the 200-week moving average. And again, here you had that big sell-off, 52%. You rallied back to the 50-week just above it. You rallied back to the 200 in the daily. I told you we'd likely move further away from that 50-week moving average. Right now we're trying to bounce off the 100-week moving average, but you'd likely move away further from it and then come back up and get a larger back test of the broken trend line by the time you get the larger counter trend, which I think is going to be late December or on into January. And my guess is it's probably going to be January, but could be as soon as late December, but I doubt it. I think the stock market will have to play catch up to Bitcoin. The Moon Boys are convinced this is the bottom and on our way to new highs. And again, the long-term time frames are telling us that's not true. Bitcoin has topped, and Bitcoin will eventually make its way down here to the 200-week moving average, which is currently at the 56,000 area. Again, that's why I'm saying we could drop 50% or more. 50% is 63,000, 52% as we did over here. And that would be 60,000. That would be taking us towards this 200-week moving average. The initial sell-off over here, we moved towards the 100-period moving average, 100-week moving average, and eventually took it out here. A bounce off of it will likely get a bigger move towards the 200-week and then try to rebound, and eventually we'll take it out as we did the 100 over here. I think you'll get a much bigger sell-off. You got people also believing if we do go down further, there's no way we're taking out the 200, and I disagree. I think you're going to get an 80 to 90% drop, because that's what Bitcoin's done in the past in bear markets. As I'm making the video, Bitcoin's up about just over 6.5%. We sold off 7% yesterday. We're trying to rebound now. My guess is you're going to get rejection around this 20 period and end up going down. As I've said, it go as high as 98,000. But I think it's more likely we have a 1-2 and we're going to get 3 and keep going. But, you know, I'm talking about in my video here the different Elliot wave counts. Nothing's changed. Oh, today's rally. We're rallying back after giving up 7% yesterday. We're rallying back up at the moment, making a lower high. This is so bullish. In a downtrend. Hello? If you try to explain that to a moon boy, good luck. They don't believe Bitcoin goes down. They only believe it goes up. I think you're eventually going to form a divergence here. I told you we might go as high as the 50 level if we try to go towards the 98,000 level here. And as I've said, if we end up going above it, then you have this likely as primary wave 3 and you're in primary wave 4 for the bigger correction. My guess is that's not going to be the case, but I'm explaining to you that anyways, even though I disagree with it, because I always tell you what could happen if a certain count gets invalidated. So I'm looking for a divergence here. I'll be looking for a divergence down here in the MACD. We're still in negative territory. Moving averages are still in a bearish arrangement. 10 still below the 20, the 10 and 20 still below the 50, the 50 still below the 200. I'll quickly flip through some of my indicators. We're trying to turn bullish here. Oh, this proves it. Well, we turned bullish here at 116,000 and we flipped right back to bearish and the bottom fell out of Bitcoin. So again, it's a counter trend. And I talked about that some at the bottom before this rally happened, that some of my signals might turn back to bullish, but we won't know until the close. And if we get a lower high, the rally can fizzle and either see the signal revert back to bearish or have it not turn bullish by the close of the session if we don't close near our gun. We had some really nice signals mark that short-term bottom. Beautiful signals back up at the top. Mark the top. Major resistance. Again, we had these beautiful topping signals back at the top. I warned you about all those topping signals when they formed, originally when they formed, slamming into major resistance. We had a bullish signal here. We got a counter trend. We got another bullish signal here, counter trend. Maybe that's done. It's not. Again, my personal belief is it's probably done, and we're going to get a lower high here. Open-minded to the other scenario. Again, this is nothing more than a counter trend, and this is wave, either intermediate wave 4 or primary wave 4, as I've said, in my opinion, which will be followed by either primary wave 5 or intermediate wave 5 to complete primary wave 3, one or the other. I got this signal here, that signal's still holding, but right now you got a yellow bar turning bearish yesterday. Today we're trying to turn back to bullish, but we're setting up a lower high at least so far. So we'll be watching. If we get a lower high, get a lower low, take out this level, you're going to move to take out 80,000, and you'll get the wave 3 of intermediate wave 5. You'll get that minor wave 3 of intermediate wave 5 of primary wave 3. Well, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Some of these microwaves. If you go higher, then the wave 4 is not done. A possible signal developing here, it won't be until the final close, but we're trying to turn back up and recover. We've recovered the 7%. We're trying to recover the entire decline here. We've gotten a move back up towards a high of 93,000. We're just under it, but got a possible signal saying, hey, watch out. This could be canceled out by the end of the session. So I'll be watching to see all of this unfolds. Now, we got a bullish signal last week here, but again, the bars are still bearish. If this is primary wave 3, then you get the move back to the 50-week moving average now towards 103,600 area. I doubt that that's going to happen. I think you move further away from the 50-week, closer to the 200 before you get that bigger rally back up. And I think that takes you into January. So let me draw that a little bit more over here. I think that takes you into January, and then you get that bigger rally back up. I don't know that you hit the 200 period, but I think you move down closer to 50%. You know, my target's 40 to 50% lower. Beautiful signal at the top, sell signal at the top. Warning of all this, again, if you do try to move back towards 103,000 right now, then you get your primary wave 4. I don't think that's the case. That is my alternative Elliot wave count. I think this rally likely stays below 93,000, and if it doesn't, I don't think it's going above 98,000 personally. If it does, the alternative is that the primary wave is done, 3 is done. I don't think so, but telling you what could happen if we move above 98,000 or if we move above 93,000, which I don't think we're going to move above 93,000 personally, but we'll see. Here we have those bottoming signals for the short term. These are just short-term signals. Bar still red here. Bar still red here. Again, we've bounced up the 78.6 Fibonacci, moving slightly below it of the entire advance. We dropped down to it, moved just beyond it, and we're trying to rebound. Either intermediate wave 4 is done, and we're now starting intermediate wave 5, or intermediate wave 4 is not done, or if we move above 98,000, the lows over here, then you're in primary wave 4, which again, I think is much less likely. No bottoming signals here. We got the last one, just gave us a counter turn bounce, nothing here. Beautiful signal at the top, beautiful signal at the bottom. This helped me call the very day of the bottom. Beautiful signal at the top over here. Some of these other counter trends and short-term tops and bottoms. Bars here turning back to blue, but going back and forth from red to blue to red to blue. But I got a couple of signals trying to flip back to bullish with the swing trend signals. We'll see if it does it. If we can clear the last minor high of 93,000, you can get a bigger counter trend. Where signals slip back to bullish like what we had over here, but then when the counter trend's done, they'll revert right back to bearish. If we see the rally fizzle out by the end of the session, then you have the odds starting to increase that you've already completed the intermediate wave 4 and you're now in the first 2 subwaves there of intermediate wave 5. Had a bottoming signal here at the bottom. Gave us a Thanksgiving rally. We're struggling here at the orange line. The orange line and the purple line have dropped below the pink line. That's not good. Even if we get a bigger rally, that's going to be resistance. And again, that's where the 98,000 area is, the purple line. If we do end up getting it, if we get a lower high, then we need to see a rejection here around the orange line and drop below 80,000. Regardless of which way it plays out, Bitcoin is going lower. The weekly and the monthly charts tell us that. Well, again, we got some bottoming signals giving us this rally. Again, it's a counter trend, and again, very well could be done. Personally, I think it is, but if we get a bigger counter trend, watch 98,000, watch the 50 period in the daily, watch the 200 period in the 4-hour time frame. Again, a couple signals are turning bearish, bullish, a couple signals turning bullish. Many of them are still bearish. If we do get a bigger rally, the upper band here is just under the 98,000 area. And again, the bands are now starting to tighten, telling us something is getting ready to happen in the near future. It's not done yet. It's still under construction. So if we get the bigger rally, we can get a bigger drop. Or if we get the bigger drop ahead of the Fed, you can get a bigger rally. We'll be watching to see how it unfolds. This is nothing more than a counter trend. A couple of signals trying to turn bullish. Other signals remain bearish. So again, we're going sideways in this trading range. We've rallied, we pulled back, and then we've rallied. See if we get a bigger rally or not. If it fizzles out again, as I think it probably will, do we go back and start moving to take out 80,000? Regardless of which way it plays out, I think you're in intermediate wave 4. Or intermediate wave 4 just finished and you've started intermediate wave 5, one or the other.